Okay, if you're not ready for Friday, Aloha Friday, then I don't know what to tell you, but that song just puts you in the mood. Welcome to Mai Tais at Sunset. It is another Aloha Friday with a Pauhana.
Woohoo!
Not with the Pauhana, but that sounded actually kind of funny with a Pauhana. So the face.
No, it's Pauhana Talk Story Time.
No, Pauhana in your face. Aloha Friday with Mai and Tai. Boom, boom, boom. If you got your drink and you put your feet up, this is how we do it. All right. It's been another great week.
Yeah,
let's get started.
Let's share some positivity, hoping that we all laugh a whole lot today. I got some really cool things to talk about.
Okay. Let's hear
Hawaii, I believe we're fully moving into Tier 4, and we're totally open. And outrigger canoe paddling, ocean sports, surfing, the Honolulu Marathon, all of this is now open and starting and allowed as of June 1st.
Wow. That's kind of interesting since Okra released that they were not going to do any races or anything like that this year.
Yeah, and even the Duke's Ocean Fest might be back on, Duke Hanamoku's Ocean Fest, which I believe happens July, because we're always there for the paddling events in July, 4th of July. Mm-hmm. Wait, is it 4th of July? It is. It's 4th of July.
No, I thought that was the McFarland Regatta. Not the Duke Kahanamoku celebration. The Duke race is usually the one that's right off of Kailua. That's the one around the Mokes and back.
Okay. Well, regardless, everything's open. Everybody's trying to get everything going again. So, that'll be good.
Yeah, that's really awesome to hear that Hawaii is fully open and that people are able to enjoy their vacations again. But I imagine that it's a bit crowded. One of my friends tried to take, I think, a trip, and for some reason the airlines were overbooked, and she got booted 2 planes later.
Whoa!
And that was with American, and she was very upset because she paid full price, but she was booted, actually forcibly booted. Usually they give you they ask for volunteers or they try to get a voucher to entice you. She didn't even get that option, but later she complained and she got some miles. But still, I mean, it's a little bit inconvenient.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they said 6 million people went through the airports over the weekend. That's quite a bit of people.
Yeah, Hawaii is actually starting to feel really full. In fact, we are still so understaffed that a lot of our hotels aren't fully open. So vacation rentals are in high demand. And there's actually so much red tape around vacation rentals and having a legal vacation rental. I mean, we pay a lot in taxes to have a vacation rental in Hawaii. And the state loves those tax dollars, but they're also making it really hard for anybody to be a Airbnb host or VRBO host or whatever. But they try to shut several down. It's hard because they're vacation rentals and those things, they're in residential areas. And when you're coming for your vacation, you want to have a lot of fun. You might not, you don't care if you have to, you don't care about waking up early in the morning to go to work the next day. So, you just don't want to really anger your neighbors. You want to keep it cool, right? So it's really hard, but it also is so expensive to own real estate in Hawaii. And I understand a lot of people liking to have small little studio apartments on their property as vacation rentals to help them with their income, because we all know Hawaii is expensive to live. But it's a beautiful place to visit. And right now, there's just so much demand. I mean, we're going into summer, so everybody wants to go to the most beautiful beaches on the planet everywhere. Right. So I'm sure it's not just Hawaii that's getting hit. I'm sure it's California and all these beautiful vacation destinations.
Definitely the Caribbean. I think we were just cleared for cruises to come out of Galveston starting in, I think July. So,
real soon.
Right. And I know a lot of like port destinations need the cruises to come back because that's like millions of travelers every year who come through and inject money into the economy. I know that Alaska is suffering a little bit because all the Alaskan cruises were
shut down. Going back to summer, there was some really cool things that the state of Hawaii just did. They shut down some Hawaii beaches because the coral is spawning. And we still have to be vigilant. Please don't step on the coral. Please stay away from it. There are, people in Hawaii know that if you step on coral and a chunk gets inside of you, it will continue to grow inside of you.
But remember, Tori actually stepped on some and it was growing in her foot for several
And she didn't,
weeks,
I don't think she knew for a long time until she finally was like,
no, she knew.
Right away?
She just didn't take care of it. Oh, yeah. I remember late night calls of her saying, oh, my foot hurts. And I'm like, I think you have an organism living in your foot, hitchhiking. And I remember Michelle peed in like a vat and Tori put her foot in it. But that doesn't
does
work,
not
guys.
work.
Like
pee does not work for
absolutely
anything. If you get stung by a jellyfish or Portuguese man o' war.
Well, they're saying it's supposed to neutralize it or whatever, and I'm like, no. I think that's just a fairy tale.
People just want to pee on things, pee on people. Awful.
Yeah, that's just a fairy tale.
I remember jumping out of a canoe because we were too shallow, and we needed to get all the bodies out of the boat so it could float up, so we could gently push it along the surface of the water because we were in the coral. And when I came out, I actually stepped my foot on coral, and it was dead. It was just basically a big rock. But when I came out and I stepped on it,
You squealed.
No, I actually hurt my foot so bad, the heel of my left foot, to the point where I actually got diagnosed with plantar fasciitis.
I thought that develops over time, but maybe there was some trauma.
Yeah, it was trauma, and I broke it. I don't know what I did, but they said it was plantar fasciitis, and it took me a year to recover. But the worst part of that was like after we put the boat away and I'm now limping, then the coach goes, "Okay, now everybody run the beach," and I'm like, oh my God, no. No. So I
would have said no.
I limped along and I just said, I'm sorry, I'm injured now. But anyway,
ocean safety is important. Definitely know your critters.
Yeah.
Critters and creepy crawlies, because that's always important.
And protect the coral reef. You can also buy really good sunscreen that doesn't have something called oxybenzone in it, because that actually inhibits the corals from reproducing. It also causes bleaching. It just kind of murders them. And then there was a whole bunch of recalls just for any sunscreen that has benzene in it. And to me, they sound terribly similar. But benzene supposedly causes cancer. So your life is worth more than cheap sunscreen.
That's true.
So
I would say ever since I got my tattoos, I take better care of my skin than ever.
Yeah.
And I should have done it when I was younger, but you know what? It's never too
check
late.
the ingredients. Don't just trust a big label, a brand name. I actually like this one that came out called Reef Safety. I wrote it down. Reef Safe. It's just Reef Safe sunscreen. Yeah.
Perfect.
I know. I wish they were a sponsor. But I just want to protect the oceans and the coral, and we can all do our part so that they'll be here for generations to come.
Well, I think a lot of people don't know about reef and reef safety
and the health of them.
There's a lot of videos of snorkelers and scuba divers picking up trash along the reefs. Mm-hmm. A lot of tourists lose their phones. I think I've seen videos of jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of things.
Always.
Hair ties, socks.
Yes, you meant.
We talked about that before.
Yeah. And we've pulled up so much netting that gets stuck on the coral reefs and paddled that in and, try to get rid of it. Fishing line is the worst. I remember this one guy.
We definitely want to protect her.
Oh, he was so nice. He jumped in because he had something sharp to cut it with. And then when he came back up, he actually lost his keys in the ocean.
No.
And there was there was nobody had a mask. We weren't that far offshore, but there was no finding it.
You know what? Karma, right? Like, it's okay to lose some keys. Hopefully you have a spare. Get a locksmith, but you did save a life.
We saved the ocean and the ocean inhabitants.
Provides.
Yeah. But I felt bad about that for a really long time. But I was asking anybody have a phone? Let's help this guy so he can, he helped us to pull all this stuff out of the ocean. So everybody offered up their phones, and we're like, yeah, let's call somebody. He was a doctor. He could afford a tow or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
But I know that he lived on the other side of the island. And it was like, oh. And I don't live on the other side of the island, and it would have been traffic for me to go and come back. And I had my own things to do that day. So I was like, anybody else going out there? He actually had a friend who also lived out there, so they could have both carpooled it to his house. So I hope that's what happened.
It would be... I'm sure he was fine.
Yeah, I'm sure he was fine too.
He did a good thing.
He did a good thing, and I'm sure it will reward him. It rewarded him by now.
Didn't we just talk about earlier the FDA had to put out like an announcement that if you're allergic to seafood, like you should not eat the cicadas?
Oh yeah, you just told me that. That's so gross.
What do they call brood X? Like, don't eat the cicadas.
Those are bugs.
At all.
Those are bugs.
But it's the same thing. I mean, you could have bugs in your food and your organic lettuce, and you could be mistakenly eating cicada poop.
So yucky.
Well, and that's what makes the world go round. Speaking of bugs, I had a massive dragonfly attack me on my walk the other day, walk/run. I actually have a picture of it, but it landed on my forehead.
Oh.
So I screamed,
Yep.
right?
As you do.
Internally, externally, I was alone. So whoever heard internal, external scream, I screamed, and then it flew off and then landed on the pavement in front of me. So naturally, like, I hurry up and took a picture of it. But it literally landed on my forehead, and of all the places you could, I guess that's the highest point on my body, but it was frightening. And there was this one time, a friend of mine took a very candid picture of me doing something in my driveway. And I had like this bug with 2 antennae sticking up on the top of my head. So that whole time, I didn't know there was a bug on my head. But I have a picture of it, of me not knowing. But it looks like I have 2 little antennae.
You couldn't feel it on your hair?
No, and I looked like Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. So there are some, I don't know why bugs like my forehead, or my head.
That's so gross.
But that's 2 instances recently I've encountered bugs. You deal with the cockroaches all the time. So
I know. Thank God I haven't seen another one. And I'm also really happy to say that the minor birds have moved away. So now I just have really nice little boy birds.
What pushed them away, or what scared them off, you think?
I think what happened was the one that was crying all the time. I think it was a baby that got pushed out of the nest, and it was like, hey, you're big enough, you go on your own. And it was just constantly crying because it was by itself, and it looked like it was yelling at this tree. It kept hopping on my wall.
Did it get eaten or something?
No, it was fine, but it finally flew away. Unless his parents invited it back in. I don't know what happened.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, but it
getting pushed out of the nest, and then you're like,
I think it
I
tried.
have nobody feeding me.
It tried to make its own nest on my gutters on my house, but thank God it found somewhere else to live, because I don't hear them anymore. It's so nice to just have the nice Hawaii birds.
It either gave up or got eaten. So we'll just say it gave up.
Gave up. Well, I know the cat that's next door is too lazy to do anything about birds, so I don't think it was that cat that ate it.
Well, you never know. Everybody else probably got tired of it screaming, so it was probably like, okay, somebody hurry up and deal with that. You know what? Sometimes we got to get pushed out of the nest to learn a lesson.
Take care of yourself.
Whatever that lesson might be.
Take care of yourself.
It's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
So cruel world.
Well, I mean, we've got people eating cicadas, so...
That's so yucky.
It's so gross. I saw like a picture of a girl with a Tupperware, like one of those It's a pretty good, decent sized one, full of them. And I was like, I would throw up.
Yeah. Can you imagine just the
They're creepy looking bugs.
crispiness of it as you're chewing it, the sound?
Oh.
I'm
Well, I sent you a picture of one with chocolate cover. It was chocolate covered. And I was like,
what
why?
a waste of chocolate.
Why do people eat chocolate covered ants, grasshoppers, crickets, scorpions? I'm like, what is the fascination or deliciousness of a chocolate covered bug?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like, I would eat them if there was nothing else to eat, but I would not indulge in a chocolate covered any type of bug.
No, not worth it.
Yuck. With an exoskeleton. Gross. Ugh. Just the thought of an exoskeleton. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Let me tell you a funny story. I have a really great story. So my mom is notorious for loving food. More than me. And she and I decided that we would go to Dairy Queen and pick up some chocolate dipped ice cream cones. Totally just spontaneous, random. We were like, let's get some chocolate covered ice cream cone. Ice cream. So we're sitting there and I'm watching her eat. And my mom has a tendency to get food on her face.
Oh no.
And when I tell her to wipe it, it will travel around her face. So let's just say there was like a piece of rice on the corner of her mouth. She'll like wipe her face vigorously, like aggressively, and it will end up on her forehead or the side of her eye or in her ear or whatever, on her neck or shirt. And she gets upset. So I'm watching her eat this ice cream cone with chocolate. And all of a sudden I look up from my own and she has a warrior mark from the corner of her eye down her cheek to her chin of chocolate.
How does that even happen?
I have no idea. But I was like, I just started to laugh and cry. And when I do that, it doesn't stop for a while. And she's like, what? You know, like she's all mad, still eating her ice cream cone, crunching away. And she's like, what? What are you laughing at? And I go, Mom, you have like a chocolate warrior mark from your corner of your eye to your chin. And she goes, no, I don't. You're a liar. And like she's trying to wipe it, right? But it's not coming off. Like it's so deeply seated or painted on her face. Because I guess because it's the chocolate dip cone, it will melt upon contact with like heat. But it's a frozen one. So the chocolate freezes once it touches something cold. Man, she must have like pushed that cone into her face while she was trying to like eat the rest of it. And literally we had to go home and have her wash her face in order for it to come off. And I was like, how do you do this? She goes, I don't give a shit. Like she's like, I'm just gonna save it. It's my mark of like what did she say? Mark of triumph. Because she ate the whole large chocolate dipped ice cream cone from Dairy Queen, and I could barely eat like a quarter of it. I just ate the chocolate because it was.
It is so hot right now, and lately at night I'm like craving something cold, and there's like nothing good. I have nothing good. I haven't figured out what it is that I want, but I just end up with ice water. I did try a popsicle yesterday because I bought them for my kids, and
you know what you need?
I didn't like it.
Lilikoi shaved ice from Kailua General Store.
Shaved ice would actually be really good.
There you go.
I think that store closed.
No, it can't be because I just saw it on Instagram. It moved from its original location over to where. What's that place called? It's some burrito place. It's not it's like Chipotle, but not.
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
It's on that corner where like McDonald's, and then you walk and there's like 3 stores.
Well, I could go to Obama's favorite shave ice place, Island Snow in Kailua.
They don't have Lilikoi.
No.
Fresh
he was the only guy who made it. He made it fresh. He was so proud of himself.
It was so delicious, though. But he's still there. I think he's still jiving and thriving. Yeah. He's still there. He just moved on you.
He moved on me.
It's been that long.
Well, because I've been like in my house and not going outdoors. I'm glad. I'm hoping.
I know you've been shuttered.
I'm hoping he's doing well. And I mean,
his name is Steve.
Steve. Shout out to Steve. We would visit him all the time. We'd ride our bicycles when bicycling was a little bit safer.
Support local.
Yeah. Kailua General Store.
Yeah. Very fun. I'm trying to think of other places that we would go. I mean, we'd always go to Whole Foods. We'd always like bounce around to different little stores. Just Mahina.
Mahina. I loved Mahina. I loved
Global Village was next door. Teddy's Burgers.
Teddy's is still there. I'm going to have to go out and adventure. I'll go out and adventure and I'll go see what's out there.
Okay. Give us an update next
Well,
time.
I'm actually trying to make a list of like things that are really awesome to go do.
Everything is awesome.
Oh, I did go to I was comparing sushi places, and I did go to Ninja Sushi.
Yeah.
Instead of Genki Sushi. And I have to say I was super impressed with Ninja Sushi. They're also, I think, a chain like Genki, but it's they didn't have any sit down at this time. But you just call ahead and you order, and it was really good.
Okay. There is a Nobu down in, gosh, what is that area? It's not really Kaka'ako. It's like where Ward Village might be.
I can't even
a little bit
remember.
further down from there.
Okay.
Well, where the warehouses were. And then a little bit further down from there, they opened up all these like high-rise condos. There's an infinity pool on one of them where you can like look up and see it's like glass. But Nobu is like one of my favorite sushi restaurants. It's a chain, but it's very expensive, very high-class chain. And I really love it. So that's probably my favorite sushi place besides Uchi, which is really good down in Houston. Good spots. Love food. Anyway, so let me give you an update on Sky, my puppy. She has learned to corral my mother and kind of herd her through the kitchen to make sure that her food is done well, heated up nicely. She has also managed to scare the crap out of all my other dogs. My other dogs will not get close to her.
Oh, wow.
They stare at her with like this indignation, and then Cheeto likes to attack her because he will hear her growl at me, and he will literally fly across the living room
To protect you?
to defend my life.
Wow.
So it's pretty funny. You know, she's going to be an outdoor dog for sure, and very, very big. So soon she'll be roaming the land. But for now, she's learned to herd my mom like cattle. And she nips at my dad's heels when my dad comes to visit. He wasn't really good at saying the name Scout. So I changed it to Sky, and he's like, Sky, no, like that the whole time. And he'll scream because she's chasing him around the house, trying to nip his heels to get him to go where she wants him to go. And she's gotten big. She's doubled size in a week and a half of having her. She went from about 6 pounds to now 13 pounds.
Wow.
She's big. She's a big old puppy. And I'm worried because I don't know what breed she is. Some people told me she's a lab, but then they're like, labs don't come in all white. But then they were like, Great Pyrenees doesn't have blue eyes, gray eyes, whatever eyes. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to know how big we're projecting her to be. And the vet was like, based on her haunches. And I was like, her ass and her body, she's going to be a rather large dog. And I am concerned that this dog will be bigger than me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. You're not going to be able to pick this dog up.
No. I'm already having a hard time picking her up now because her belly is so swollen. And I keep telling my mom, I think you're feeding her too much. And then we also have a video of Sarge. So Sarge is my brother's family's new dog. He is a Bernese Mountain Dog standard poodle mix. He is the biggest puppy ever. And he is like a melted butter when you touch him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you.
Do your other dogs like him?
They haven't met him yet because my sister-in-law wants to keep him separate for now until he gets all the shots. Understandable. He's a very expensive type of dog, so you definitely don't want him to get sick. But today I saw him, and I think we're putting up an extra video of him on Patreon. But he just is like this big, awkward, dopey looking dog.
He's very
like he's
fluffy.
Just dopey.
He looks
His
so
eyes are
soft. He looks so
He's soft. He had a bath yesterday, but I was like, bro, you've got like thunder paws. His paws are the size of my palm.
He's going to get big too.
He's going to be big. They're all going to be big dogs. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with these big, huge dogs? But I will feel safe walking around.
Do they count for anything on your ag land?
For ag exemption? No, they don't, unfortunately. I wish.
No large dogs.
I'd be like, yeah. We need 30 units. Okay, I'll get 30 dogs. That sounds great. It's just weird that I like wanted a dog and I wanted to rescue a dog so badly, and then one like fell into my lap like 2 days later.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But she's a mess. She's hot to handle. This PSA for everyone out there: do not take a puppy away from its mother until it's like 8 to 10 weeks old, because they have some real behavioral issues.
Yes. You've had to become the mommy.
She nips. Yes. Yeah. And it's like Tackle City.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. All right. Anyway, that's the update about my puppy and my brother's puppy. It's a lot of puppy.
Yeah, we'll have
a lot of cuteness.
We'll have adorable videos and pictures of them on Patreon. And
yes,
check it out. What else? Oh yeah, I should have that Outrigger Canoe paddling video done. That'll be on Patreon. I really love that. That was super fun.
It was really cool.
And it was well
cool
produced video on Outrigger Canoe paddling. I miss Outrigger Canoe paddling. I had a friend call me and say, "So I'm out paddling again. Will you come join us?" And I'm like, "It's so early." It is early, and I'm like, but I've gotten used to sleeping in, but I am considering going back out now that I'm vaccinated, and I'm excited to get back out there.
Well, you can actually bring those adventures here so we can hear about it. I'm definitely jealous, but I think now that I've figured out my mosquito sort of routine, I will be able to go paddleboarding, because I was worried that I'd be stuck out on a paddleboard and being attacked by millions of mosquitoes. So another extra little tidbit, I ordered a full mosquito suit. So that will be something I try out later next week. And for those of you who are Patreon subscribers, will also be able to see me romp around in that.
Okay.
And I have the perfect song to go with it. So that'll be really fun and exciting to watch unfold. So, yeah.
I think we're all updated. I'm ready to have a good weekend.
Yeah, I think this weekend. Oh, I'm going to the tattoo convention this weekend in Houston. My brother is actually getting 2 full sleeves. Not this weekend, but we've already booked a certain artist to do it. But he wants to get some ideas. And I've always wanted to go to a tattoo convention. I think I've only been to one, and it was really like a fast, quick fire
So
trip.
When you go to that,
so
you're going to wear like a tank top that shows off all your tattoos?
Mostly. I'm not really I don't really want a lot of people to like look at me, so most of my tattoos will be hidden a little bit, but maybe a tank, but I don't really know.
Layers.
I haven't really worn a tank top very much. Yeah, I mean, the point is to go and look at everybody's art, admire art, but I'm also looking for tattoo care. I've really been a solid supporter of inked tattoo. They have a really great brightening sunscreen. It's SPF 50. It's worked wonders for my tattoos. It makes them very like bright and shiny. So yeah, sponsor us. And so I mean, I'm sure that will be there. There's a couple other types of like care stuff, but you can only buy it at the conventions, or you have to special order it through your artist. You have to be like a licensed tattoo artist to get some of this really special tattoo care. So I'm looking for that, and I'll do some video, probably take a lot of pictures, because my brother would like to get some ideas. I would also like to look at what other people are doing out there for as far as coloring, watercolor, color saturation methods and things like that, because there's one more tattoo that I would like to get, but I don't know because I'm getting so much older and it hurts more. I've noticed as I get older, it hurts the longer I sit there. So maybe not, but
Are you allowed to do ibuprofen before you get a tattoo?
I wouldn't do it just because it does increase bleeding in some people. I never take anything. Most of the time I'm watching actually we watched murder mysteries the entire time I did my last 10-hour session. So it's really good to bring something very distracting. Some people read books. I don't want to hold a book that long. So it's really nice to just watch TV or sleep. Sometimes I fall asleep because I'm so tired. Yeah. And after your adrenaline kicks in, you're kind of just in this lull. And so you want to go to sleep. The only thing that I would say that I would do if somebody's like open is I would have them brighten my pueo wing that's on my left forearm.
Oh,
Probably add a little bit of white.
yeah.
To do a little bit more shading to brighten it up a little bit. It is quite dark, but it's still pretty. I mean,
Yeah, it's
you've seen
gorgeous.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Mai. That's very sweet of you.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my amakua, the pueo.
Oh, that's so majestic.
I know. And
we should talk about Amakua.
so amakua is your family guardian. My mom has always said it was the honu because we have this.
Love the
Yeah,
honu.
we have a family story where some of our ancestors were rescued by giant turtles. But then I also have heard that we have the pueo, and I noticed that I see them, especially on special things, like when I went to this paddling championships in Kauai. There's the bridge as you're going towards like Hanalei and to the beach that we were at.
Yep.
And just before we crossed the bridge, and it's one car only on this bridge in Kauai, and it's all like tropical rainforest on either side, and then there's a stream underneath because the waterfalls are right there. And it was like all of a sudden there was like this beautiful double rainbow, and then a pueo, a white, beautiful owl, just Hawaiian owl,
That's
flew
so
right over.
nice.
And I just remember I was in the car with my coach and one of my paddling sisters, and we were just like in awe. And then it was like beep beep from the other side, like, oh yeah, I have to go across now.
Hello.
I was in the moment.
Aloha. That's what you do. If anybody gets really upset with you, just scream aloha out the window. Aloha, bitches. Well, it's been really nice. I'm so happy that we got together for another great Aloha Friday. Pauhana. Enjoy your drinks, enjoy the sunset, kick back, enjoy the weekend. It's been great. Here it's gonna rain the next like several days. It's really funny. I think Texans, mostly Houstonians are getting a little bit depressed with because it's like peaks. It's like bits and bobs of sunshine rays, and then all of a sudden it's like
It's
rain.
the end of spring.
So,
it's the end of spring, and you need all the rain you can get.
Yes, wash away all that terribleness, but wash it away and then dry it up real quick. You know what? I prefer the rain over 100-degree weather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great sleeping weather. So thanks for listening in to another episode of My Tais at Sunset. Check us out at mytaisatsunset.com. Our website is up. It's beautiful. Always new content coming up. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and anywhere you find your favorite podcasts.
And until we meet again, ahui ho.